Genshin Impact's version 2.6 just dropped, and we finally have Kamisato Ayato as a new character. I immediately read through his backstory and played through Act 1 of his story quest, and I found myself even more intrigued in his character and values. So I wanted to share my thoughts and analysis on his character lore and story quest. Ayato is a character I've been looking forward to ever since we found out that he is Ayaka's older brother. From what little we knew at the time, we learned that he was the Yashiro commissioner and head of the Kamisato clan, where he mainly deals with government affairs, usually out of the public eye, and even uses manipulative tactics, which interested me because of how it contrasts with Ayaka's elegant and admired behavior. So when Hoyoverse first released his strip marketing back in February, I was even more perplexed given how his appearance looked rather pure and kind, similar to Ayaka. His appearance juxtaposes his behavior, and I think Hoyoverse may have been wanting to hint at us that Ayato is someone who wants to keep burdens to himself, and I think he's like this mainly because of his background and upbringing. At his core, Ayato is someone who first and foremost will do anything for the sake of his family and clan. To ensure the prosperity of his clan, he'll use whatever means necessary, which sounds super Machiavellian-like, but I don't think Ayato is that extreme. A lot of what makes him who he is today is from his rather tough childhood. Not so much how he was raised, per se, but more so the situation that he was raised in. Both Ayato and Ayaka were greatly loved by their parents, and early on in their childhood, Ayato started strict training to become the clan's successor. However, this happened when the clan was going through an incredibly difficult period. Many years ago, elders of the clan failed to resolve an important national matter concerning a swordsmith, and this tarnished the reputation of the clan as well as the Yashiro Commission. Ayato's father put in immense effort to compensate for the errors and try to restore the clan's reputation. Unfortunately, this took a heavy toll on his father, where he became fatally ill and suffered an early death, while Ayato was still a child in the middle of learning how to be the clan's successor. His mother passed soon after as well, and Ayato had no choice but to take on the clan's responsibilities as a young child. I imagine that after seeing all the stress his parents went through, which ultimately caused their early deaths, Ayato resolved to never let something like this happen again for his family, especially for his younger sister Ayaka. His vision is a symbol of his resolve, as on the night he received it, he solidified all his scattered thoughts and promised that he'll do whatever it takes to secure his family's safety and its future, even if it meant facing the world. So, ever since his childhood, Ayato's always wanted to be the pillar of fortitude for his family, taking on the burdens to ensure their long and healthy prosperity, doing whatever it takes. When he took upon leadership of the clan, he was met with a lot of ridicule from other clans, but with his strong conviction, he persevered through the hardships and stabilized the reputation of the clan and the Yashiro Commission. Today, even though he doesn't often appear in public, he's still well known and respected throughout Narukami Island. He's grateful to Ayaka because she helps him with maintaining their clan's public image, being admired for her kind and elegant behavior, because she's the Shirasaki Himegimi that the people look up to. This has a benefit because it gives Ayato the time to handle government affairs, and shield Ayaka from having to deal with any of the darker aspects that are present in political power struggles. A lot of people, especially higher up politicians, are aware that Ayato isn't to be messed with because of how tactical and cunning he is. Even Yaemiko describes Ayato as being quite sneaky and unpredictable, which is a notable statement since we know how much of a sneak artist Yaemiko is herself. But despite all the political and shady involvement that Ayato is in, we do learn more about Ayato's more pure and tender side through Act 1 of his story quest, which I enjoyed because it really showcases how his past fits into his character today.
I am head of the Kamisato clan and Yashiro commissioner, Kamisato Ayato.
In his story quest, Kujo Kamaji of the Tenryou Commission and Hiragi Chisato of the Kanjo Commission are to be married, which is a big deal because it's a high-profile marriage between two commissions, something that rarely happens. However, there is malicious intent that started this, and we learn more about Ayato as we see him use his wits to investigate and resolve the matter. One of the first things I noticed from him is his emphasis on the importance of marriage, while also making sure that both parties maintain their own individuality. His opinion on Kamaji and Chisato's marriage really highlighted this. He shows his full support for the marriage because of how clear it is that Kamaji loves Chisato. Even though there may be some off-putting public opinions, such as how Chisato's father is still in prison, Ayato encourages Kamaji to ignore and push past them, which is similar to how Ayato kept leading the clan in his early days despite backlash from other clans. So when Kamaji tells us about the letter of proposal, which Chisato denied sending, Ayato quickly picks up on this odd behavior. It adds evidence that while Kamaji is ecstatic about the wedding, Chisato may have reservations, which Ayato finds to be a problem because he thinks both parties in a marriage should have no reservations. I would imagine that he'd be someone who wouldn't support arranged marriages, because no one should be forced into one of the most important decisions in their lives. When he talks with Chisato to get her thoughts on the marriage, Chisato expresses her hesitancy and uncertainty with the whole thing, which is a completely opposite stance from Kamaji's. As Ayato says, this is a terrible situation because not only would this marriage be more like an arranged one where both parties aren't in sync, but also that Chisato would lose her independence, because as vulnerable as she is right now, she'd always be reliant on protection from Kamaji. I'm also thinking about why Ayato values a healthy marriage, and it could relate to his own parents' marriage. While we don't know too much about them, I think it's safe to infer that they had a strong and healthy marriage, and this contributed to the great love they gave to Ayato and Ayaka. Ayato probably understood from an early age that marriage founded on true love is best for a family. But back to the marriage, I think this is why he wants to resolve this matter personally, even though he recognizes it may be out of line, stepping into the domestic affairs of another commission. It's because Chisato is going through what Ayato went through as a child, where the future of their respective clans are dependent on the support that they each provide. If Chisato is married into the Kujo clan, the Hiragi clan loses their pillar of support and risks going into decline. Similarly, had Ayato not taken leadership of the Kamisato clan, who knows if the clan would even be here today. Ayato knows what it's like for a clan to be on the brink of destruction, and he doesn't want this to happen to another clan. It reminds me of some empathy he has for the falling out of Kazuha's clan, the Kaedehara clan. To this day, Ayato maintains a sense of duty towards Kazuha because of how his ancestors couldn't help stop the decline of the Kaedehara clan. All this to say, part of why Ayato has involved himself in this conflict is to ensure Chisato's conviction to support her own clan as their leader. As for independence, I think Ayato also recognized that both of his parents were also their own strong individuals. It seems to me like it comes out of an admiration for his father, because of how his father was able to provide so much support for the clan in its darker days. And on the other side, it kind of echoes what we saw in Ayaka's story quest, where we learned that their mother, Kamisato Kayo, had split her time between being a leader of the clan and then being her own self as Tsubaki. Their mother probably also showed them that while they have responsibilities, they should also make sure to spend time on themselves, to be their own true selves, to have hobbies and things outside of just work. This theme of individuality was something important that Ayaka realized in her own story quest, and it is kind of echoed here in Ayato's. We learn that one of the masterminds behind the marriage scheme is Matsura, who's from another clan in the Kanju Commission. I enjoyed how Ayato used Matsura's scheme against him. First, he was able to bait out the schemers because he made sure to keep an eye on Shinojo, which falls in line with all of the various quotes we have about Ayato regarding laying bait to draw out enemies. During the confrontation with Matsura, there's some adage about a long-tongued bird that Ayato tells Matsura, and while I'm not 100% sure what it means, I think Ayato is using it as an analogy to describe what's happening at the time. Someone who speaks too much could get into trouble fast, so they should be careful not to divulge too much. And I think Matsuda might be long-tongued right now, since what he's doing is pretty blatantly giving out too many of his thoughts for Ayato to use against him. And Ayato is sort of mocking him for this because of this conflict for power. Especially when Ayato suggests why the marriage wouldn't be good for the Kanjo Commission. Matsuda is oblivious as to why, which is a perfect signal for Ayato to move forward with his plan to give a false sense of fear to the Kanjo Commission, by giving a fake looming threat of alliance between the Yashiro and Tenryo commissions, given how unstable the Kanjo Commission currently is. The marriage is called off because the Kanjo Commission folks see just how way in over their heads they are and beg Ayato for help to resolve the matter. And what I like about Ayato here is that he doesn't just let them off the hook. He condemns them for being disloyal and unruly to the Tri-Commissions, as they're subjects of the Almighty Shogun. I also liked how the scene had this intensity to it, to where I think maybe Ayato did show some restraint in his resolution. Finally, I think the end of the quest loops back to the idea of individuality that Ayato cherishes. When we meet with Chisato again, we see clear character development from her because she herself resolves to postpone the wedding and stands up to Matsuda, recognizing the support that she can provide for the already fragile Kanjo Commission. That while her love with Kamaji is true, she first wants to be able to take care of herself prior to the marriage. And Ayato is happy with this because we see Chisato recognizing the value of her own individuality, to become her own person and to protect herself without being a burden on others. This is why I liked the theme of the story quest so much, because not only does it show Ayato's witty and smart character, but it also shows the humane and kind side of him where he's able to guide another person, Chisato in this case, to overcome a difficult situation for her clan, much like how he himself did so in the past. Like someone passing on their own experience so that others can be better prepared to handle the challenges that he himself already went through. Those were most of my thoughts on his story quest, and I appreciate his character much more. Same thing with his official art, since I think it represents him really well. Even though he'll do whatever it takes to get what he wants, ultimately his goal is really just to take care of his family, as well as the people of Inazuma, so that at the end of the day, everyone has a home to go back to. I think for a goal as pure and selfless as that, only comes from the most pure and selfless of people, the ones who lead so that others don't have to bear the burdens. And Ayato seems to represent this well, as his title suggests, as the pillar of fortitude. Overall, I enjoyed playing through his story quest and found myself analyzing a lot of the dialogue that he gave, as there were many cool quotes that he said. Even playing with Ayato in-game has been a lot of fun, and I think Hoyoverse has done a great job with fleshing out Ayato's character. So yeah, I'm happy that he's finally available as a character, and for the future story and events, I'm really looking forward to seeing more from Kamisato Ayato.